Any vice, you're just escaping from your current reality. And that was me for years. I just kept going to the porn every day, and I didn't know where I was going in life. And it just made me feel hopeless. It made me feel like I just wanted to commit suicide. It was getting so bad. And it's the same thing for some people, to the extent when it comes to the drink, when it comes to any sort of smoking, the list goes on and on. So at the end of the day, it's still a vice. People just, they'll always look for a way out. Their weakness is their way out. That's why I come to the conclusion of. It's crazy.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Neff Inspiration, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stefan Neff. Today is another fantastic day for an interview. And this whole channel, this whole podcast started with addiction. And today we are coming back to this root topic, this perfect way of escaping your reality. And our topic today is addiction, but a subject that still remains much more hidden, cloaked in darkness and taboos and shame, which is porn addiction. Addiction is a way of us to escape our reality. And we use drugs, we use food, we use gambling, all kind of things, shopping, TikTok, all that goes. But porn is a huge amount of darkness associated with it. It is a topic that no one really wants to talk about. Therefore, I'm so grateful to have my guest with me today. I've got Nick Drivas. Nick is a man who has come out of the shadows and is willing to talk about his porn addiction. And he is nowadays a man who is out there helping others to actually deal with similar problems in their lives. So can't wait to pull the covers back, so to speak. Nick, welcome to my show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and really just tell how it is, and especially everything that I went through as a porn addict. And I'm just excited that we have the time to really just give all the golden nuggets for everybody to learn from as well.
Exactly. Well, Nick and I just quickly looked on the internet and actually tried to get the figures. But it's about 12% of websites on the internet are porn. Now, that's a hell of a lot of websites, okay? And it's $1 billion industry, no two ways around it. And the other thing is, we are not alone. I mean, when I say we, I have looked at porn. You have looked extensively at porn. 30,000 people every second log into porn sites. This is a lot of people. They're males, they're females. That covers the whole range of society. My goodness. But you could say, Nick, if everyone is doing it, what's so wrong about it?
That's exactly what everyone says to me all the time. They're like, oh, like, it's just porn. Like, it's not that big of a deal. They like compare that compared to drinking. Like, oh, that's not a vice though. Like, it's so stupid. It's literally the same thing. Any vice, you're just escaping from your current reality. And that was me for years. I just kept going to the porn every day, and I didn't know where I was going in life. And it just made me feel hopeless. It made me feel like I just wanted to commit suicide. It was getting so bad. And it's the same thing for some people, to the extent when it comes to the drink, when it comes to any sort of smoking, the list goes on and on. So at the end of the day, it's still a vice. People just, they'll always look for a way out. Their weakness is their way out. That's why I come to the conclusion of. It's crazy.
And that's a brilliant way of putting it, isn't it? There is always a reason why we try to escape our reality. And we may come to that in a second with you. When was the first time that you were exposed to porn?
I was 12 years old. I started really young. So I was down in my basement. So where I was, I'm still at the house. It was my grandmother's house, and my parents would go off to work. I would just go to school, come home, and she would be here. So it was very quiet in the house, and I would just start to experiment with myself. So I found just some YouTube video of a stripper. She was shaking ass, and, you know, down there, it starts to get excited, and I just start touching myself. And pretty much ever since that day, over and over for about 10 years, I just kept doing that over and over again. And then throughout high school, throughout even college, I had social anxiety like a motherfucker. It was so bad. It was so bad to the extent where I didn't want to date. I didn't want to be around anybody. I would lash out at people. It would just make me just want to just be so isolated. And I had this dark cloud over my head. And anything that I tried to pursue, I was trying to pursue just going to the NBA in high school. And then that didn't work out. They always said you didn't have the confidence. I always had a very strong work ethic, but they said you always lacked the confidence. You didn't have the self-belief. Where did all that self-belief just wash away? It was going right into the porn. So that was the thing, is that it just kept messing me up with any goal that I did. I tried doing YouTube. It didn't work out. I tried doing TikTok. I kind of blew up, kind of gained some traction off of that. But that's when I actually found some purpose and I was off the porn. So this is around 2020 and I start blowing up. I start doing workouts and posting in my backyard just over and over again, 8 times a day of just workouts over and over again. Now I'm at the point where I'm finally off porn for a little bit, about 200 days. I blow up, I gain some traction, and I'm like, oh, so now this actually works. But then I go back to the porn and it just messes me up. So now fast forward all the way to July 27, 2022. Now I'm down in the basement and I just can't take it anymore. Now I'm lashing out like crazy. I'm using it 2 to 3 times a day, maybe even 4, to be honest, if I can remember. And I'm just looking at pools of semen on the toilet seat. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I can't take this anymore. I was a part of some communities at the time. And there was this one coach that I knew I had to go to. And he was the one that helped me now teach others the program that saved my own life, because I was going to take my own life. It was getting that serious because I kept running to the porn, the state of my business, everything going in my life, my relationships. I had erectile dysfunction for years because of the porn, and it just made me feel worthless and hopeless that there was no way out. I was just in this endless loop that I could never figure out for myself. But once I broke free of all those chains, then everything massively leveled up. I just hit 2 10K plus months in my business alone in a year. I've been able to travel to Mexico, Florida, and so many other places, meeting with other business owners, mastermind events, all these great things, because I stopped all that pleasure and just focused mainly just on my purpose. It's always purpose over pleasure. That's all it is. That's what I found.
It makes perfect sense. Once you're out of the darkness, once you're down the line, to find a purpose, to find the why in it is the why. I still struggling with the why. Why is typically why me? Why me? The victim mentality. But that's not the why I mean. It's the why, the purpose. Why do you actually want to do? Why do you want to become rich? Boil it down to the why. Keep asking why, and ultimately you actually come to some very valuable answers, which might be different for each of us, but it is beautiful to do that. So I love that you have come to this point in your life. Having said that, I mean, did you figure out what you were running away from?
Oh, it was definitely just what I was doing with my business and who I was. I'm only 23 and I was discovering this at 21, 22, is that I was running away from what I really had to run into, which was making a better me. I had to make a doper Nick. That was the problem. And the state of my business, I only made like a couple of sales, but the more that I just make a doper Nick, then everything starts to come together. And that's what I kept running away from. I wasn't in shape in the way that I am on this podcast today, the way I look and everything. Like, I didn't look the way that I did. I didn't sound the way that I did. And I knew that's what I needed to run into. And that's what we need to do out here. Instead of running away from our problems, we need to run into them to actually make that change. And then everything is going to start to change around you. Like, I'm like, no one else, especially in my age gap, like I'm 23 now, I talk to another 23-year-old out on the street, and I'm like, they are so lost and confused. I'm like, it's because they're running away from all the problems. It's so crazy. And then I have like 50-year-olds in my DMs, the same shit. I'm like, you're running away from your problems. You have to run into them, whatever it may be. For me, I had to make a better me through fitness, mindset, and nutrition. And that's what I focus on day in and day out since July 27th of 2022. Just did it over and over again. And then everything just started to blossom right in front of me.
Which is beautiful. And that's exactly the 5-minute garden there. This is once you actually put consistent efforts, small efforts, but consistent ones into onto your path, into your journey into the right direction, suddenly things come together. And suddenly a career begins to blossom, or a relationship, if you are focused on the relationship, will change to the better, or your finances will suddenly be different. And that's the beautiful thing. I think that is the privilege of choice that you uncovered, that you discovered. It is a beautiful way forward. You took action, but in the right way. But our society is primed to be immediate satisfaction, right here, right now. I mean, it's not difficult for you to find porn. It is, any search engine will deliver it. But here, anything you want from you want bondage and rubber or rubber and bondage. You can choose. Everything goes, and it is so easy. But how do you convince people to step away from the easy path into the right path, which might not be as easy?
Well, that's the thing is like everyone I've noticed is that they have to be open to even hearing the message to actually realize, oh, this is the right path for me. Because everyone's ego is going to be right in front of them and saying, no, it shouldn't be this. It should no, don't do that. Don't make that investment. That's that money going down the drain. You don't know if it's going to work or not. I'm like, oh my God, just spend the money. Like, do you not realize everything that I'm teaching is priceless? Like, I'm just talking about my guys. Like they have the massive ego at first. And then I'm like, do you understand to turn into the best version of yourself? It's priceless. I'm like, when I did it for my coach, I said, fuck everything else. I was like, I'm going to make this work for myself. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Until I get that physique, because I was fat and then I got super ripped in 3 months, veins popping off the shoulders, everything, confident for the first time. And I finally found that answer that all those coaches, like in basketball and all that stuff, what they were talking about back in high school and everything. And I was like, this is that feeling, because I felt it. I had that magnetism and that presence finally. But people have to be open to actually receiving that. If you're not able to receive and actually know, oh, that's the answer that I'm looking for at that moment, then they're just going to have to keep searching until they just get pounded in the face with content from Nick Drivas and say, oh, God damn it, he was right in the first place. Because now I have clients coming in and they're like, dude, I've been watching you for months. And it's like, oh, you were right this whole time with what you're saying. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, I'm not just talking out my ass, man. I'm talking from what the fuck I've been through. That's all it is. It's crazy.
Okay, let me be devil's advocate here. You're 23. You have got the testosterone and the drive and the energy of a 23-year-old, for crying out loud. How can a 53-year-old who has maybe made a lot of wrong decisions in his life and who is working a full-time job or sometimes 2 jobs and trying to be a father and trying to be, etc., how can they keep up? How can they even think about achieving any sustainable goal? Is that not just a pipe dream?
No, it's not a pipe dream at all. It's just about making it work for you. Once again, I mean, I was running the business and then I was doing freelance work at the same time as I was still building the best me at the same time. So I don't want to hear no excuse that you have 2 jobs. We got 3 jobs. We can't do this. We can't do that. I'm like, if you wanted that bad, you will make it work. That's what I did. 2 jobs. And then I was also taking care of certain clients at the time in person, still doing things for my family, even though, yeah, of course, 23-year-old, I don't have any kids at the moment.
Yeah.
That, like, if you want to say not as much responsibilities, but still, I had to pay for my car, right? I had to get money. I had to take care of myself. Like, I had to run the business. I had to learn certain things, right? So it's like, it's still in there of the amount of responsibilities, but just in a different form. It may not be just like kids or whatnot, but with the stuff that I had to do, I just had to make it work for myself. So if you're 53 or you're 43 or you're 73, it doesn't matter. It's just about what, based on your specific circumstances, are you going to subtract everything that is not serving you at all, that you can start to align with your 10.0 self, is what I call it. This is what I teach. And then start to say, okay, these are the specific action steps that I need to do daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly to achieve the X result that I want to at the end of the day. That's it.
Nice.
Whatever that result or that goal, that vision may be. And then until it happens, you just keep doing it over and over again until you get a crack in the wall. And then you have a breakthrough, like how I did.
I like the way you argue, and I absolutely agree with that. I'm certainly, or there is a version of Stefan in me who says, no, come on, look, you've got so much other things to do. No, you don't need to work out today. And then I remind myself that, you know, how many seconds are in a day? I keep forgetting the figure, but we all have got the same seconds in a day. Now, if you actually break it up a little bit into smaller chunks, would you be willing to maybe spend 1% of your day? 1%, that's really not much, isn't it? 1% of your day in your maybe physical improvement? 1% could do. 1% equals 15 minutes a day. Now, could you do 15 minutes every day? And even if that is too much for you, do 0.3%. Do 5 minutes every day. Could you do 5 minutes and make a change today? I bet you will, because you probably have been strolling on Facebook for 2 hours, not doing some other shit. Try to escape your reality. Maybe watch the porn. Get that dopamine release of an orgasm. And then finally, for a few seconds, have peace and quiet, only then for the shame and guilt to kick in. Well, maybe, just maybe 5 minutes might be a thing. So, but if you're still in the grip of the porn addiction, what would you tell someone who recognizes he has got a problem, but is feeling still caught in the urge to just go back into the basement, so to speak?
You got to go touch grass. That's honestly it. Like, you got to go touch grass. You got to go out into the world. You got to put the phone down or the laptop, whatever it is. What's the source? And identify the root. Something that helped me a lot too was journaling, because that's where you learn about yourself a lot. That's where you really find, why is this happening to me? Why do I feel this way? Why do I go and run to the porn? I kept asking myself. And what I found is that it was because of the state of my business. I was actually bored at times throughout my day. So I had a little bit of extra time and I wasn't doing it, or I wasn't using that time wisely that aligned with my purpose. Now it's like every second of the day from 4 a.m. to 9 o'clock at night, it's aligned with 10.0 Nick. That only aligns with my purpose. Beforehand, I could see when I was in my journal, I'm like, oh, that's why. Because at 11 o'clock in the morning, you're going and scrolling on Instagram, and then you start to see a chick, and then that's what happens. Then you want to go on Pornhub, and then it just leaks into other things. So that's what I found, is that the journaling is where you're going to find a lot about yourself, of why you're even doing it in the first place. So you have to get to the root, whatever that may be. It's going to be a little bit different, but all in the same category when it comes to the porn. And then you want to identify any triggers of what's happening. Don't align with that character anymore. That's what I teach too, is turning them into their 10.0 self. So what's the actions, thoughts, energy, habits, daily rituals that you do on a daily basis that don't associate with porn? or any vice. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. It doesn't have to be just porn, any vice.
indeed. I think the journaling is, you couldn't agree more, is such a powerful tool to actually just slow your mind down. Because what many people don't realize is that their thoughts are actually nebulous kind of things just floating around. The moment you stop and either spell it out, talk about these things, or actually write those things down, you actually put it in words. You're slowing the whole process down. And by putting in words, suddenly it becomes far more real. And that is very, very powerful. It leads to so many breakthroughs. I remember when I wrote the first version of My Steps to Sobriety, I had one day I had a writer's block, and I had no idea what to write, and I forced myself to crazy write, which means you just start writing. It doesn't matter what comes out, blah blah blah. And suddenly I had this out of body experience where my fingers were typing, and I was reading what was coming out, not really knowing what was coming out. And there were some bloody breakthroughs there. I guess the goosebumps actually thinking about that moment because things came out of my mind that I had not realized were part and parcel of my healing process. So that is the amazing thing. So journaling, yes. But again, you need to do not just write a diary. How do you teach someone to journal so that it does not become a crazy to-do list or not a crazy whatever?
Yeah, so usually I start off is always wins for the day.
Yeah.
So I always try to get the confidence as high as humanly possible. And usually this is after a workout. So I just hit a freaking massive, like whatever, push day, leg day. Like I'm coming off a high frequency state. That's what the purpose of the workout in general is. So I'm up in that flow state coming from the workout. Then I come back home and then I start to journal. So at this point, I'm just going through the day. I'm like, okay, hit the workout. I got my macros going in, did my affirmations. I did meditation, Like I already have like 20 wins under my belt and it's not even like 12 o'clock yet. Usually
Nice.
I do it around 9, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I got all these wins. Now what I go into the next part, because now my confidence is at an all-time high. So the next thing, now I go into the previous day of what I didn't do correctly. So I say, I always use this as an example, is if I was at the gym that morning and there was this cute girl and I didn't have the balls to go and approach her. That's what I would write about that day in the journal and be like, okay, so I didn't go up to this cute girl in the gym because I felt scared or she intimidated me because of the way she looked at me or something, Like really write it all out, what you felt in that moment, and then say, now, what are you going to do tomorrow when you go and see her to correct the bad habit or the bad decision that you made? So now you're just like, oh, because now your confidence too is at an all-time high. So now flow state is already happening in general from writing in the journal. You're just letting the pen write, by the way. That's what you should be doing in the journal. Like how you said, the out of body experience when you're writing the book and stuff. Like it's the same thing. That's what you want to be doing in the journal. And then, so then you do that in the journal process. And when you hit that high frequency state, and then after that, go into just tasks that you want to do for the rest of the day. 3 to 5 things I like to do, just like anything that's on the business or just in general that I have to go and get done, like errands, something that, again, that aligns with my purpose, something that aligns with my 10.0 self. And then I just keep it moving. And then I go on to the next thing. But for the journaling, I try to keep it short, and it shouldn't be a task. It should be something that you look forward to. For me, I always look forward to it because I know I'm going to get better off of just writing down everything that I'm going through, wins, and then also how I'm going to get better today and who I'm going to create in this process as well for the day.
Nice. I like your structure of the journaling. Mine is a little bit different, but it's actually I love the wins, the recording your life. There's a nice saying: if your life is worthwhile living, it's worthwhile recording. And we are so bad as humans to think about the things to ruminate about the things that we have done wrong. I never celebrate the wins, even nowadays. I'm struggling. And I remember back, I mean, I've got a lot of alphabet soup behind my name, and you just get through one exam, and I would do the exam in the morning, and then I would hit in the afternoon, I go to the teaching for the next exam. I wouldn't stop and celebrate. I wouldn't stop and say, wow, well done, man. No, it was taken for granted. But I would beat myself up for absolutely everything I did wrong. Did you get that the 4 o'clock in the morning, Nick waking up and remembering absolutely everything that you did wrong in the last 15 years? Have you had moments like that?
Oh yeah, dude, that's like every day, man. There's times throughout my day I'm like, oh man, I'm thinking of like all the things that could go wrong, or just, everything that's happened in my past. Like, all the questions start to erupt. But I know that's when I'm not doing the process, maybe to 100%,
Yeah.
or maybe something that I may have missed, maybe something may have slipped. Obviously, I'm not perfect. It does happen. I'm not going to come on here and say I'm Mr. Perfect 100 every second of the goddamn day. That would just be a lie, and
Yeah.
I can't lie. So that's one of the daily disciplines. So I'm like, no. So just yeah, I found that, and I know that's something that's off because of something that I didn't do in my daily process. Because I know when everything's on money, everything's stacking, everything's a good day, and I keep the momentum going. And then what's also happening when you do that as well, that's all that karmic debt just collecting in your head. So I'm like, oh man, this moment right now, me even thinking about these past 15 years or what ifs or whatever, I'm just like, nah, let's focus that back again on how we can create the best Nick in this moment right now, and then propel us forward.
Nice. But it's so hard. But I think when I get into those ruts, there is typically a reason for that. Maybe I've overtrained. Happened to me 2-3 days ago. I was a bit ratty, a bit anxious, too much energy. And so I worked out. And then later on in the day, I worked out again, and then did a long swim. And yeah, great. The next day, all my muscles were saying, yeah, fuck off. And I accepted for what it was. And the next day was not nice. So the next day I was just lying around. I was not very productive. I did some things, but it was one of these days. But I accepted it for what it was. So there's an argument to saying, okay, actually, your body is today, you've overdone it in one way or the other, and you need a break. So that's certainly one message that maybe your body is sending you. But many of the other times when I don't feel right, it is simple because I have not yet started my habits. I'm lagging somewhere a bit behind. So the habit could be, no, actually, you get up now. You then do, I don't know, shower, shave. Then for many people, just that morning routine to actually get up, do it, is enough to get them going. For me, most of the days it is. But then there must be other things that will trigger you into action. And it's this kind of habit forming, isn't it? That we say, okay, now I want to do something really good for me. That is a quick win. So the low-hanging fruit. What can you recommend to people when they want to create their own patterns, when they want to create their own habits that allow them to get through their rut, that get them going and lift their state of lift their frequencies?
Definitely. So the first thing would just be is, once again, to identify like one, that you're in the rut. If you're not even like saying, oh, I'm in a rut, or everything's fine, like no, it's not good. Like, you would be killing it, right? You would be making loads of money, you would be in the best shape of your life.
Yeah.
All these things. If that's not the case, then yeah, you're probably in a rut. So that's the first thing. I got to put that out there, because the ego, once again. Next thing is just get out of your current environment, go do something, even if it's like to go for a walk, like do something that's going to benefit you. Like, don't try to go and heal another person or anything. You got to heal yourself first before you can go and heal others. So heal yourself in all ways. What's worked for me was always just doing what I could and focusing on what I could control. That was my diet, my workouts, so I could go to the gym. I had a car. I could drive there every single day, do my workouts, go home. That would elevate my state. Journaling, I would do that. Listen to affirmations. I would listen to my mentor. I would listen to coaching calls. The list goes on and on. Your daily inputs determine your daily outputs, and your outputs 30, 60, 90 plus days even from now. So
nice.
That's the other thing too. So you just got to get in the habit, quote unquote, of just really good habits every second of the day. Like I analyze my time hour by hour. I say, was that hour useful or was it not? I keep doing that. There's logs and logs, of all of that. And just saying, was this beneficial? If it was, okay, I keep this going. If not, no, we cut that out. So that's what you got to get in the rhythm of. You got to get, this is why I build for my clients too. At first, it's like, we just got to get you in a good ass rhythm. Your rhythm sucks right now, bro. Like you're eating Doritos and playing Xbox all day. Okay, we have to cut that out. Like you can't be doing that, bro. How are you supposed to get ripped and like chiseled and get the girl of your dreams? Like she's not going to want that, bro. Like you want to fit in a nice shirt, feel comfortable in your own skin, then you got to go to the gym. You got to get the meals in. You got to like set up MyFitnessPal and stuff. Like start tracking your shit, like everything. Get everything in diets. Like, like be that figure. You have to become it first. That's the main thing too, with the habits.
I love it. I love it. First of all, create the dream. And dream again, it's like thoughts. Yeah, okay. There's a dream. I want to look good. Well, no. Tell us exactly how do you want to look? What do you mean? Well, how big is your biceps? What's your weight? What's the state of being ripped? Be very clear. So you change your dream to a vision, a crystal clear vision of what you want to do. And then you take action, and then it becomes a mission. So absolute cool shit what you're doing there. And I love the FitnessPal. Actually, there are so many good tools. I mean, I carry a Garmin here. I don't get any money from Garmin. Although Garmin, if you want to give me money, I'm very happy to go to take your money. Garmin is exactly touche. Yeah, Garmin is I love it. It's a fitness watch, but it allows you to record all kind of things. And I've expanded it from just workouts to also other habits. For example, I know that you don't have to be in the gym to be active. So if I know that I'm doing some kick-ass gardening, well, I've got garden on there. So I actually record, hey, my workout now is gardening. And I probably will be sweating buckets by the time I ripped out things and pruned and climbed and do whatever kind of things. Cool, that works for me, or other things. So you can actually start recording things, and suddenly, then when you look at your phone after the activities have downloaded, you see, wow, okay, you spend how many calories actually doing that. So suddenly, the chore that you hated, the weeding of the garden, I'm on my legs, or on your knees and ripping things out. Well, if you're doing bird dogs in the gym, or if you're ripping grass out, that's actually not so much difference. What's the difference between your push-ups and you actually being again on your knees and I don't know, doing something in the garden? You might find is you use very similar muscle groups. So therefore, suddenly you got the breakthrough there that, wow, okay, yes, you did a workout in the gym, and now you do another workout. Hey, how cool is that? Oh, that's a win for me. And that's how I'm changing my psychology around certain chores that in the past, I don't want to do that. And now I'm looking forward to it because it's actually an activity that I can record as a win. So it's a win-win because I'm actually doing a workout and I'm recording it as a win. Yeah. So Good shit, Nick. I love what you're doing, man. I mean, I use my Garmin. You were saying Fitness Pal. What is Fitness Pal for those who don't know?
So that's for all the diet. I've been doing that for years, even before I got the coach and everything. Like I kind of knew what it was, but you need to know exactly what is going into your body. You also need to know the correct macro split because the stuff you find on YouTube is incorrect and whatnot. That's where I found before I got a coach, but then I got the coach and he simplified it all of exactly what you need, and it all made sense. And that's where I actually got chopped because I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm trying to lose weight and this isn't working. And then he gave me that correct macro split. So make sure to have the correct macro split with your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. That's with MyFitnessPal, what it comes included with alongside your calories as well. And it just makes sure it's almost like the scale. When you step on the scale and it says like your weight and stuff, it keeps you in check, right? Like most people try to do it like every day. I mean, I recommend just once a week with the scale and then every single day with your macros because just doing that in general, you're building a habit.
Mm.
And this is why I tell all my clients, I'm like, they're like, sometimes like, oh, I eat the same thing every day. Like, why do I have to track my macros? I'm like, okay, in general, you should just be continuously tracking them because you're doing that. That's benefiting you. That's a good habit compared to you and going smoking a cigarette right now, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah, because you're aligning. Once again, this is what it all revolves back to is your 10.0 self. With your 10.0 self, not be tracking their macros, not be fulfilling their time with their purpose, benefiting what they're putting in their bodies, eating right foods, the correct stuff, not eating McDonald's and Burger King, like all these things. So, yeah, but in short, like MyFitnessPal just tracks your food, keeps everything in check in terms of the calories, fats, and protein to make sure that you're hitting those goals every single day with the correct split.
And in all fairness, guys, you are up against a $1 trillion industry. The industry, the food industry, is producing highly processed shit that is designed to get you hooked. So we are talking about you getting off your porn addiction or getting off alcohol addiction or any other numbers of addictions. And then there's the food that you're eating, which is giving you the biggest sugar rush you could possibly imagine because it's all highly processed sugars, basically, combined with fat, and you don't realize it. Most of us wouldn't recognize healthy food if it hits you on the head. So the standard American diet is designed to make you a failure. And you don't realize it until you develop an interest in it. And FitnessPal is certainly an app that I use. And again, we both should actually get in touch with them and say, come on, guys, we're making here advertisement for you. But it actually works. And there is actually some great info that is coming out. You basically put in, okay, I've had, I don't know, a cup full of Brussels sprouts. That's probably looking quite good on what you're eating. Versus I've eaten one pack of Doritos, even a small pack of Doritos. Yeah, and then have a look what is in there, and suddenly you get a shock. Certainly in the past, I was quite partial to cheesecakes. I baked, once upon a time, I wrote a book about cheesecakes. I baked my cheesecakes, and then that got all too much. And I actually went out to Cheesecake Factory and other kind of places. When you actually have a look, what is in there? My goodness, it blows your head off. And I was wondering why I was maybe gaining weight or certainly not losing weight in the past. It's those kind of things. There's so many hidden secrets in what you consider food. And this is a journey of discovery that is, you will never look back again once you actually start the journey.
Yeah, that's what I notice a lot with my guys on my team. They're like, what the hell? Like from Cheesecake Factory, especially. They're like, that's that much in that Oreo cheesecake? I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm like, that's why, like, especially here in America, it's like, that's why everybody's so goddamn fucking overweight and fat, man. I'm like, it's crazy, man. And everybody's just,
exactly. Supersize me. I mean, bottom line is there's the sheer fact it's not just that you eat rubbish, but you're eating rubbish in a huge amount. And that is the problem. And certainly over the last 10 years, there has been a pandemic, really, of obesity in the United States. So having said that, many other countries are only just a few years behind that or lagging behind. It is something that is happening all over the world. But then again, there is a beautiful growth there when we're just waiting for you guys out there when you actually start taking an interest in that, and then suddenly become good in modifying your food intake and create a food plan. Note, I call it food plan, not diet, because this is not something what you want to do now. Oh, for 6 weeks, I'm gonna do whatever crazy fat diet. No, you're creating a food plan for the rest of your life. You're actually developing skills and knowledge and new likes for your body. Initially, you need to detox. So what do your clients say when they come off the Oreo cheesecake?
Oh man, they're like just in a couple of weeks because I send over just new meal plans. It'd be like something along the lines of like tilapia and chicken and stuff,
Yeah.
stuff that they're not eating on a daily basis. And then 2, 3 weeks in, when they're dropping the weight, so they're like, "Fuck, man, this works." And then they're like, "Man, I feel so much better." I'm like, "Yeah, because you're not having the cheesecake, you're not having the pizza anymore." Then they don't want it. That's the craziest shit because
Isn't
they
it?
keep doing that. And as you said, it's a food plan. It's for life. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's not to do this because I'll get people too. They're like, "Yeah, for the next like 6 months, I'm going to go hard." And it's like, so pal, what happens after 6 months? What are you going to do? Yeah,
It's weight,
that's
exactly.
why a lot of people too, they have that. They fluctuate. They lose the weight, then they go back on.
Yeah.
It's because the vision isn't clear enough. They don't have a crystal clear image, and they don't realize that this is a lifestyle that they need to do for the rest of their lives to actually maintain it and sustain. That's another big thing. People are getting misconstrued, especially. I'm like, no. That's never going to work too. Like you have to constantly go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to make this work with cuts and reverses. That's how all this works. To lose the weight, pack on the size, speed up the metabolism, then you can gain the muscle. Everybody's trying to do the shit backwards too, and then they look like fucking Marshmallow Guy from Ghostbusters. That's how I looked. So I'm like, oh, my dumbass was doing that too. You know what I'm saying? Before I got
So
the
true.
coach, I'm like,
So true.
that, yeah. So
So true. Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's great.
But these are all journeys, and this is kind of Lord of the Rings, and many of us are trying to be Frodo alone. There's a good reason that Frodo had some mates around him to actually help him and keep him on the right path. Frodo alone would have been a very lonesome story. I think the reality is that there are many things that people don't know, and they don't know that they don't know. So therefore, you can try to figure it all out, but there's so much bullshit advice out there. And I think that we need to recognize that there are a lot of charlatans, or sometimes even well-meaning people who just pick up some snippet somewhere and then think, yeah, that's great. You need to drink 5 liters of apple cider vinegar every day, and then that's the magic cure, or, shit like that. Bullshit. It's not to say that apple cider vinegar might not have a beneficial effect in small amounts on your nutrition and maybe on your diabetes type 2. Those kind of things. So little things work, but not just one thing. There's not one magic pill that you can take, okay? Including Ozempic, including whatever the American names are for the magic weight loss pills. So you can just give me that. Yeah, my ass. What do you think will happen once you come off the weight loss pill, huh? You haven't changed your habits. You haven't changed your lifestyle. You have not changed anything. You will just gain all the weight. And it's going to be a very sad story, a very sad outcome. Whilst you, Nick, you're helping people to establish habits, and you're helping people to change their life by asking some very fundamental questions, questions that inevitably will implement change. And that's the cool thing. That's the amazing thing that your approach holds. And I'm not saying that maybe for some extremely obese people, that not medical help might also be of benefit, that maybe even surgical approaches like gastric banding or similar approaches might not be the right thing for the right person on the right circumstances. So don't get me wrong that I'm poo-pooing all that, but a part even of such more surgical approaches will always be the psychology. It will always be those things that you, Nick, are basically bringing out in people. So that's the magic that is waiting for you in your transformation, in your change. So Nick, you're absolutely on the money there. I love your approach. I love it that you're 23 and have had those breakthroughs, whilst many people need to be in their 43s, 53s, because they actually, before they finally learn the lessons the hard way and then create change. Having said that, I want to say one thing to those people out there, to everyone out there who is in my age group. If you think, oh, well, I've eaten so much crap in my life, it's all done, the damage is done, why the hell would I change now? Trust me, you can change dramatically. It might only take you 2-3 months for you to see amazing changes in your body, but also in your health. For all intents and purposes, I mean, I should be pretty much close to death when it comes to heart disease, etc. I've got a strong heart disease kind of history in my biological father. He was also smoking like a chimney and drinking like a fish. And he died of a 6th heart attack. So having said that, I started Nick's journey about 10 years ago. And so, last year, I put my money where my mouth is, had a heart examination where they check how much pizza is stuck in your arteries there. And I expected to see some not so nice things. And it turns out the blood vessels that bring oxygen and blood to my heart are that of a baby. There's nothing stuck in there. Yet with my lifestyle and my genes in the past, damn, I should be, start digging my 6-foot hole.
Yeah,
No,
600.
yeah, no, it's no longer there. So you can change. The past does not equal the future. And Nick, you are a man who helps people actually achieve that. And that is amazing. That is really, really wonderful. So it doesn't matter what your life has been like. Yes, maybe you have done some damage. Yes, maybe there might be scars in your body. That does not mean to say that you can't improve your gut now, your gut microbiome, your gut health, which in turn changes everything. That you could not stimulate the biggest endocrine organ in your body. Endocrine is basically where all the hormones coming in and all the cool shit is happening. Now, nowadays, we know that the biggest endocrine organ is your muscle. So when Nick goes to the gym, that actually, in the last 5 years, 10 years, we in medicine have figured out that is actually an absolute key part. And it's no longer fringe. Oh yeah, you go to the gym and you feel a bit better. No. You wanna live longer. You wanna live healthy longer. You need to use your body. And again, Nick, I love it that you say, hey, I go to the gym and lift my frequency, because that's exactly what is happening. So guys, there are so many approaches. But yeah, why reinvent the wheel? Get yourself someone who actually knows what he's doing. And Nick, you very much sound like one of these people. So Nick, if people want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Yeah, before that, can I just say one major big point before that? Like
Absolutely.
you're hitting major gems. Is that with me too, to work with me, I only tell you what has worked specifically for me. I'm not just gonna give you something from some other coach or YouTube or something I just pull out of my ass.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you everything that worked from July of 2022 to now in all regards. Fitness, mindset, nutrition, finances, even to a certain extent, all these things, especially on the mindset portion, because a lot of people, they see a 23-year-old and they think, like how you even said, you're like, oh, he's just filled with massive testosterone. I'm like, no, 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 no. There is no 23-year-old out here that is so aligned with his purpose and what he's doing out here at such a massive level. That's what it's coming from. This isn't testosterone. I don't even really believe in that shit, to be honest, because my testosterone was out the fucking window when it was drowning myself in porn. So I'm like, is it really testosterone or is it because of my purpose?
Yeah.
And I found my calling.
Yeah.
So that's what, for everybody that's listening is, listen to that fucking calling, man. That's what it was doing on that day in 2022 for me, and was saying, Nick, you got to go to that coach. You got to make that investment. You got to do it. You know, that's everything that just made a new trajectory for myself. And I'm not just speaking out my ass. I'm not one of these, as I go to one of the top gyms here in New York, it's like right up the block. And I go in there, they're all like fitness influencers. They're all a bunch of like, it's not what you think. It's all a circus. It's all an act. I'm in my own category. I'm not playing in the fucking circus. Fuck y'all. Y'all fucking lame. I'm left fielding this bitch so hard. And I'm just telling what has worked for me. They're all like putting the act on for the camera. You get the same Nick Drivas on this podcast when you meet me in person anywhere I go. Yeah. And that comes from the purpose, because that's how much I believe in my program and how I can help you guys. So to find me on Instagram, Nick Drivas Fit, NickDrivas Fit, FIT. You can shoot me a DM for coaching and we'll get you started right immediately in the DM. The same way that I shot a DM to my coach and I paid over $3,000 to get started with him that day. And that's how we did it. And now I'm here. And I'm about to move out soon to a new spot. I'm like about to take massive trips. There's only more shit coming. So it's like it just keeps leveling up. New levels, new devils, of course. But I have the foundations and I can teach you what has worked me this whole fucking time. I'm not some, like, again, I'm not some fucking lame ass coach on here. Me like, my story was about this. And I actually don't live my program to a T. Nick Drivas is living his program to a T. And if I don't, I call it the fuck out and show it.
Very good. Now, I like it what you're saying, new levels, new devils. That is we keep forgetting that because it is, many of us are on this journey of improvement, and inevitably we will fail. We will stumble and fall. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are new challenges because that's what life is all about. There's new trauma. There's sometimes old trauma coming back out and is biting you in the bum, and that's okay. You just haven't done enough healing yet, and there are still new lessons to learn, new insights to make, to have. So it is what it is. But once you have started on that journey, maybe here with Nick, and you are actually feeling stronger, because literally you are stronger as far as your muscles are concerned. You're feeling better because you have dropped 20 kilogram. You have faced the devil, i.e. maybe whatever it was, your addiction, your finances, a failing relationship, whatever it was, you have actually faced it and dealt with it. These are all wins that you thought at one stage impossible. So now if a new challenge comes, you will be so much more resilient. You will be so much stronger. But it's just like the first time you go into a gym and you look at those weights, and you probably even the smallest weight will make you sweat and you can barely lift it. Well, 6 months later, you're going to throw those weights around as if there's nothing. And I think that is life for us. We need to get back into the gym of life, but you really need a trainer, because otherwise you make all the mistakes there and hurt yourself in the gym of life. So why not surround yourself with people who are who are further down the path, and Nick is one of them. So Nick, you're a great man. Thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Thank you very much for your honest New York style, in your face, slap me around the bit. So I have no problem with that attitude at all, with that approach. On the contrary, exactly, brother.
It's
You're
awesome. Yeah.
no, no.
I mean, that's honestly just like another thing is that's what I found. I used to be a really shy kid, but then with this program too, I found who I really am. I'm a loudmouth, and that's not just because I'm in New York too, though. I know that's how it comes across. No. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I could talk for days. You know what I'm saying? I could go all day, and I'm loud. And I get it all the time, especially with chicks. They're like, you're this big ball of energy. I'm more like the chick is like, I'm more reserved and like
Right.
a lone wolf or quiet wolf
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. Some quiet moon. I don't know. One chick said that to me. And I was like, you know what? I am this big ball of energy. I'm going to show that shit off. Like, no fucks given. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not holding it back, man. Everyone needs this.
Yeah.
Don't you want to like be around somebody like me that has massive energy to go kill in whatever profession? Like, you got to be stupid not to. Like, straight up.
But that's a level of frequency. That's your basically state. You change your state, but you don't just do that with a quick line of cocaine. That would do it for 10 minutes. No, but you do it actually with confidence, with internal validation, with actually collecting the wins and appreciating them for what they are, hard achieved but well deserved changes in states. And that's beautiful. No, man, you're doing an amazing job. So please keep doing what you're doing. Let's stay in touch because I want to know who is Nick Drivas version 20. Because we all actually evolve, we all change, and we all learn from each other. So it's actually a damn cool thing. No, Nick, you're doing a great job. So guys, look down there into the description of the YouTube video. All of Nick's links are down there. Don't be shy. Hit him up and see where life takes you. Cool. Nick, you're an amazing man. Thank you so much for being a guest on my show.
Thank you for having me once again. This was awesome.
And you guys out there, look after yourself and live with passion. Bye.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.